Nice. We're Kentuckians. It's not Louisville, it's Louisville. It's not Versailles, it's Versailles. Take that, France. We're Kentuckians. We know that 95% of the world's bourbon's made here, and the other 5% is counterfeit. We're Kentuckians. If we say, bless your heart, it ain't good. We're Kentuckians. We don't aspire, we twinspire. Oh.
Scarlett. Ben? Andrew, that's an awesome name, Andrew.
Wait, we have a really important question for you guys. Is it okay if he puts in an ad lib?
Can I put one line at the end, you said?
You want it, I got you.
There you go. I think we just got it through. Hey, how are you? Congratulations. Yes.
Did you bring your tap shoes? Because I just touched stuff. Kidding.
If you want, you could if you want to.
And this is the important part here.
It'll be months.
Correct, because the show is tomorrow.
We are not happy with you in this moment.
Are you nuts?
So yeah, there's a big purple X when you walk out.
Well, Doc, what is it?
I'm afraid it's broken. Compound fracture, it'll be months before she can walk again on that ankle.
Are you nuts? She has a show to do tomorrow night.
She's a trooper. Put an ace bandage on it.
You can't be doing that. You won't even be able to stand up. Miss Brock has a broken ankle. This isn't just a big project, because we went back and checked the books. This will be the largest single investment in the history of West Kentucky. Let's thank this company again. It's going to bring the Paducah Gaseous Diffusion Plant back to life. Now, with America looking to supercharge emerging technologies like AI once again, it's us, it's our Commonwealth and our workforce that's being asked to step up for this nation. This is the story of Kentucky. The energy produced from our lands and from the sweat of our hard-working people helped grow our nation into a global economic powerhouse. Hey everybody, it's Andy. It has been an exciting couple of weeks and we've welcomed a lot of new followers and friends. We hope you'll stick around because we've got great things going on in Kentucky. We've broken every economic development record. We're creating better jobs at higher wages, bringing healthcare to all corners of our Commonwealth. We are taking our place as a national leader and we can't wait to share all the good news with each of you. So once again, stick around, invite your friends. Let's create a better Kentucky. Let's create a better United States of America. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Andy, and welcome to the last Team Kentucky update in this studio, as the Capitol will be closing for renovations, closed about 4 years. So maybe a historic moment today, but certainly we are starting it with historic news. Over the past 10 days, we've now announced $6.3 billion in new investments in Kentucky. These include 2 announcements from iconic companies here in Kentucky, Ford and GE Appliances, as well as announcements from General Matter and Apple. Since the beginning of this administration, we've now announced well over 1,200 private sector relocation or expansion projects totaling about $42 billion in announced investment, creating nearly 63,000 new jobs. This week, on Monday, I joined one of Kentucky's largest employers, Ford Motor Company, to announce a monumental investment. Ford is investing nearly $2 billion to introduce the world to the future of automotive production. They've chosen the Louisville Assembly Plant as the site to create a brand new EV production platform focused on affordability. In just a couple of years, Kentucky workers there will be assembling an all-new electric mid-size pickup truck that Ford plans to sell starting at $30,000. The project is the 3rd largest economic development project in Kentucky history. And most exciting, it's going to secure 2,200 full-time jobs. For more than a decade, we've heard rumors about the closing of LAP. We now know that it has a future for decades to come, where current workers' kids or grandkids will have the opportunity to have a good job that puts food on the table. Ford's move also boosts Kentucky's position at the center of the EV-related innovation and solidifies the Louisville Assembly Plant, again, as an important part of the company's future. I'd like to thank Ford's leaders, including Chairman Bill Ford and CEO Jim Farley, for their continued faith in Kentucky and our workforce. Ford and Kentucky have been a tremendous team for more than 100 years. If you add in Blue Oval to this, to others, you are well over $7 billion in investments from Ford or related to Ford. We're grateful that they care so much about Kentucky. This morning, I joined leadership from GE Appliances to celebrate a new $3 billion investment in U.S. manufacturing operations over the next 5 years. The part of that for Kentucky we announced in June. That's the first phase of the company's nationwide manufacturing investment. It's a $490 million investment in Appliance Park in Jefferson County. It's going to create 800 jobs to overhaul and redesign their front-load washer production lines. Now, you might wonder, as the governor of Kentucky, why I'd mentioned the full $3 billion American investment. That's because the global headquarters for GE Appliances is in Kentucky, is in Jefferson County. So it is a major investment by one of our companies that is an iconic Kentucky company. And for all that work, even occurring at the other facilities in other states, the engineering, the design, the innovation will all likely be happening here in Kentucky. The announcement marks the 2nd largest investment in GE Appliances history, surpassed only by the creation of the company's global headquarters in Louisville in the early 1950s. Today's event was a great celebration. Big thanks to Kevin Nolan, the CEO, who has done an incredible job, and we've seen the numbers of workers at least double since he took over as CEO. Today, we also have some news to share on our high ground communities, where we are moving Kentuckians that have lived in the flood zone and experienced flood after flood, loss after loss, up to safety. We just awarded $7.5 million for a contract for a project to extend an access road and develop additional neighborhood streets at the Chestnut Ridge property in Knott County. Our plans are for Chestnut Ridge to eventually have over 175 homes just on the state's portion. This contract means we're one step closer to that reality. These new roads are expected to be completed late next year. Already in the western part of Chestnut Ridge, sewer and water line work are complete. Paving and sidewalk work should be complete this October. That means we're one step closer to making our new Kentucky homes stronger and our families safer. We're fulfilling that commitment that we made 3 years ago to help Eastern Kentucky rebuild and recover. With all 8 of our high ground sites combined, we're looking at over 500 new affordable homes in Eastern Kentucky. They're out of the floodplain and home to Kentuckians that have been through so much. Last month, we broke ground on the first 3 homes at New Hope Estates in Floyd County. That will eventually be the site for 34 homes. This year, we celebrated the completion of the Thompson Branch High Ground community. That's 10 homes in Letcher County. We also framed the first homes in Skyview in Perry County. That neighborhood will have at least 100 homes. And of course, we finished the Wayland project with over a dozen homes for those that had been displaced. On top of that, we're converting an old medical building in Jackson into housing. This is the project I was talking about, or we'll talk about here in a few minutes. We're installing new water infrastructure to serve these apartments in the surrounding area. Let's see, this is Skyview, if we'll go forward. Frontier Housing is building 18 apartment units in Jackson using over $6 million in disaster recovery funding. And just last week, they closed on the property. We've come a long way. What began as an ambitious idea that I think we may have drawn on a napkin to build entire neighborhoods out of the floodplain where people would have access to services they need, to not just rebuild where we were, but to try to solve a very difficult problem and provide people the safety they deserve is now becoming a reality. We're seeing families move into housing, and we're seeing the healing happen in real time. It has been a great team effort. I'm grateful for everybody who's worked on it, and I hope everybody who's put in those blood, sweat, and tears gets to watch one of these children run through a new home and pick out their room. It's one of the most special feelings. I mean, you see God in that moment that I think we ever get to see. Next, we're announcing more resources for those struggling with addiction. In May, we announced that 2024 saw a 30% decrease in drug overdose deaths in the Commonwealth. Thank God. And we're one of the only states that's had 3 straight years of decreasing overdose deaths. We're proud of that milestone, but we know the work isn't finished because one lost life to addiction is too many. So today we're announcing a few projects to help Kentuckians in their journey to a better life. These projects are receiving funding from Kentucky's Recovery Housing Program. First, we have some good news for Fulton County. The Fulton County Fiscal Court will use $800,000 to convert a vacant building into recovery housing. This is a former church building on North College Street with the ability to help 14 Kentuckians, specifically those who've been released from the Fulton or Graves County detention centers. Because remember, we've had record low recidivism rates, and we believe in second chances. Next, we're awarding $600,000 to the Thrive Community Coalition. That group is going to build 4 homes in Martin County. These homes will be for Kentuckians battling addiction. The Thrive Coalition will also offer job training and placement services. And last, we're providing over $820,000 to the Haven Ministries in Louisville. These funds will help build 9 bedrooms for up to 18 Kentuckians battling addiction. Again, career training and support systems will be offered. So in total, we're providing over $2 million to combat addiction across the state. This is an epidemic that began in our lifetime. We should end it in our lifetime. We should not leave this to our kids or to our grandkids. And that means everything from stopping the flow of drugs to helping those that have fallen into addiction get better, get back into the workforce, pull their families back together. This is our job that we should solve in our time. Next, we have a couple of big announcements for the city of Jackson. Jackson has a lot of exciting things happening. We're building 20 homes for flood survivors in a high ground community in town. We're building those 18 apartments for flood survivors, and we just had some other news on that. Last year, we announced $13 million to build a new wastewater treatment plant out of the floodplain. And today we have even more good news. Through our community development block grant funds, we're providing $4 million to upgrade their water treatment plant. That plant suffered severe damage in the flooding, not just in 22, but Jackson flooded in 21 as well. This is a community that's been through way too much, and they deserve the very best in return. That's why, in addition to the $4 million investment, we're contributing another $1 million to build a new water storage tank. This project is amazing. It's going to serve the new apartment units we're building in Jackson, as well as the 14 additional homes. In all, it will increase water pressure for an additional 350 homes. What we're doing in Jackson, building housing, improving infrastructure, rebuilding in more resilient ways, we're changing the future for Eastern Kentucky. We are working to create generational change. All right, next we have some good news on our work to keep our people healthy. Team Kentucky is leading the way when it comes to fighting lung cancer. We're proud to report that Kentucky was the only state in the nation to earn a perfect 100% score in a national assessment of state cancer plans run by Go-To for Lung Cancer. This assessment looks at what every state is doing to support lung cancer prevention, early detection, screening access, treatment, and survivorship. And Kentucky was recognized as having the best plan to fight lung cancer. Our perfect score reflects our commitment to building our new Kentucky home and increasing access to cancer screenings. Over the past 5 years, and this is an incredible statistic, Kentucky's lung cancer survival rate has increased by 30%. While we celebrate this news, we know there's still a lot of work to be done. Lung cancer is the #1 cause of cancer deaths in Kentucky. Smoking is the #1 cause of lung cancer in the state. And as Dr. Stack talked about it last week, smoking and vaping prevention is the August focus of the Our Healthy Kentucky Home campaign. You can find out more at ourhealthykentuckyhome.ky.gov. Team Kentucky also provides Quit Line services, Quit Now Kentucky, to help anyone who wants to quit smoking. Just call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. The service is totally free. And coaches can even connect you to lung cancer screening resources that you qualify for. We're thankful for every person who's working hard each day to improve the health and well-being of Kentuckians. All right. As our red-hot economy continues to thrive, we're taking steps to ensure this progress continues for generations to come. And the single most effective thing we can do is to make pre-K for all a reality for every 4-year-old in Kentucky. In Kentucky, pre-K for all would boost take-home pay for families $9,000 a year for 6 straight years, meaning $54,000 more for the average Kentucky family. It saves $7,000 per year in costs, and it could grow Kentucky's workforce by 70,000 people. And of course, it could increase kindergarten readiness in a state where over half of our kids show up not ready for kindergarten. Even a recent Wall Street Journal article highlighted a study showing that pre-K is good for a parent's career. It's a no-brainer. Everybody wins by making pre-K accessible to every 4-year-old Kentucky child, including our businesses, our families, our kids, and our economy. And we're being intentional as we put this plan together. We want pre-K for all to be the people's plan, which is why we're traveling all across the state to hear from Kentuckians during this launch. During that time, we've heard from businesses, parents, community leaders about the need for pre-K for all. We've hosted 4 town halls in Frankfort, Northern Kentucky, Bowling Green, and Moorhead. And next week, we have one at the Kentucky State Fair in Louisville. We've also had multiple committee meetings. We just held a meeting in the Capitol with child care providers from across the state. I got to attend that one, and it was clear everyone is focused on trying to get the very best for our kids. Kentuckians are demanding it too. Since we announced pre-K for all, over 22,000 emails have been sent to legislators from our people. That's 22,000 emails in just a couple of months. So listen, this isn't political. It's about getting the best education for our kids. It's about getting parents back to work. It's about our families being able to afford things at a time when it's really difficult to pay the bills. Other states, red and blue, have pre-K, including red states like Alabama, Oklahoma, Iowa, Georgia, and Florida. I believe West Virginia did this 20 plus years ago. And as governor of Kentucky, I never want to say we're 20 plus years behind West Virginia. It is time to take this step. If we don't make this happen, we're going to be left behind. That next company looking at where to locate, or where to expand is going to hear from a different governor that their employees in their state have access to pre-K and thus make a better living. So this is how we move our state forward and ensure the success for our kids and their kids. So help us in raising your voices. Visit the website on the screen to see how you can help. Tomorrow, I'm going to join local leaders for the opening ceremony of our Kentucky State Fair. The Kentucky State Fair is more than an event. It is a tradition that has given generations of Kentuckians the chance to celebrate our values, our culture, and the important work done every day by our farmers and all the workers in our agriculture and equine industries. This year's theme, All Things Kentucky, All in One Place, celebrates how special the Commonwealth is, showcasing exhibits and activities, including Agland, the Discovery Farm, live music, delicious food, the draft horse and pony pull, Safety Town, and so much more. The fair runs until August 24th, so you got plenty of time to visit with your family and your friends. And backed by popular demand, the Kentucky Tourism, Arts, and Heritage booth is handing out Winnie State Park coloring books. Go by early to grab one. We ran out last year. I know we'll run out again this year. So for Kentucky State Fair schedules and visitor information, visit the website on the screen. All right, and now to this week's Team Kentucky All-Star. That's a personal one for me. It is a really special member of our team here in the governor's office. Lori Ferris, the director of the Governor's Office of Constituent Services, recently informed us that she'll be retiring. For over 5 years, my entire time as governor, she has served in this role, and we worked together for 4 years at the AG's office. She's helped Kentuckians when they call our office. Folks who work in the state capitol know that every time you see Lori, she has a smile on her face. And that smile comes through on the phone when people reach out for help. She's been a dedicated public servant in state government for nearly 40 years, one of the longest tenured state employees. Could have retired years ago, could have retired when I was in the Attorney General's office and she was helping in our consumer protection and senior protection program, but she wanted to continue this meaningful work. It has been an honor to serve alongside Lori. I know everybody in the governor's office will miss her, but Lori, we wish you the best. Thank you for nearly 4 decades of service. And last, there's no Team Kentucky update next week. Our next update will be Thursday, August 28th at the regular time, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. And it's going to look different because at that time, this Capitol will be under full renovation. So this is our last time hosting the Team Kentucky update in the Capitol before closing for the first renovations or major renovations in 70 years. So we have Virginia helping us to close it out. I know she's watching over us. We've had a lot of tough moments, a lot of special moments in this room, but I know the work is going to continue for Kentucky and for Kentuckians. So we'll see you in a new location for the next update on August the 28th. With that, we will turn it over to our journalists who are here. We'll start with Tom Latek.
Thank you, Governor. Good afternoon. Housekeeping-wise, where are the next updates going to be from? And then my real question is, let's get your take on this illegal immigrants getting driver's licenses.
So our next update will be over at the state personnel, the state office building, where we're working to build out a space that I think is going to be comfortable for everyone. On your question on IDs, ensuring the integrity of state-issued identification is a high priority, and any irregularities are taken seriously and investigated. So the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet regularly reviews credential applications, and during one of their reviews, they identified a number of irregularities, and they have revoked 1,985 credentials. To our knowledge, all employees involved had been hired through a temp agency and have been terminated. KYTC immediately contacted law enforcement who are engaged in a criminal investigation, and it includes multiple offices that are both state and federal. The revoked credentials, if used, would not work at an airport, would be flagged if pulled over at a traffic stop. We are committed to getting all of the facts and to holding anybody who violated the law accountable. Carolina.
Governor, those licenses that you said were revoked, did those belong to undocumented immigrants, or were those people that were not supposed to get them for other reasons?
But that's part of the investigation, and it's part of a criminal investigation. You know, there are a number of different reasons people might try to get fake identification, and I want to make sure I don't get in front of the Kentucky State Police in their current investigation, but when that's complete, we look forward to sharing any and all of those facts. Liam.
I just had one quick question just about the driver's license and issues. I guess for one, when were you made aware of this investigation happening with Kentucky State Police? That this was an issue?
I'd have to go back and look at the dates. When I first got briefed, we talked about it. I believe the Kentucky State Police had already been contacted, but this has been an ongoing investigation that includes a number of different offices, and at different times, even federal agencies have said, have given us different instructions about what we can and cannot talk about.
Got it. The other question I had is regarding the Kentucky Wired Network. There were customers through a Cellcom, the private partner involved with the Kentucky Wire Network, who came before some lawmakers today, asking them for relief in this ongoing court dispute between the Cellcom and Kentucky Communications Network Authority with the Kentucky Wire Network. Basically, the fear that the authority could cut off access to a Cellcom. And thereby smaller internet service providers who have access to the network, they could lose access, and potentially they're worried about their companies being bankrupted, that, people losing internet access. What's your understanding of the dispute? And
So I haven't heard that testimony. I know that we currently have a dispute going because a contractor violated the terms of their contract. And the state has lost confidence that they will continue or can continue under the terms of those contract with the project. Now, we don't want anybody to get cut off. We want to make sure that each business and each school and each health department that's relying on the network continues to get what they need. What do you think, Al? You want to ask one?
Sure, I've got several. I'll start with the driver's license question. The woman who was interviewed on Channel 41 said that she blew the whistle on this stand. She was fired. And you know if that was done by the temp agency or by state government, or the temp agency at the direction of state government? What about her claim that she was fired for blowing the whistle?
Yeah, I don't have information on that. I haven't read that complaint. What I do know is that there are at least some statements in that complaint that are not factual and that don't follow how the original investigation went. All right. On the phone, we have Austin Horn, followed by Josh James.
Thank you, Governor. I've got a political question for you. There are plenty of Kentuckians who voted for you in 2023 and Donald Trump in 2024. I'm wondering what you see as the common factor in those voters, the common factor that they saw in both of you. And then just generally at this point in time, how can Kentucky Dems win back voters they've lost and rebuild power in the state house?
Well, I think both those answers are connected. I think right now people are voting for candidates that they believe will be more focused on their everyday needs. I think at the end of the last presidential election, President Trump convinced, rightfully or wrongfully, the more undecided voters that he was focused on helping them pay their next set of bills, and that the vice president was distracted. So what I think Democrats need to do, but I'm happy to throw it out there for Republicans if they want to win too, is number one, spend 80% of your time on the core concerns of our American families. Those are first, your job and whether you make enough to support your family. Second, it's your next doctor's appointment for yourself, your parents, or your kids. Third, it's the roads and bridges you drive on each day. Fourth, it's the school you drop your kids off at. And fifth, it's whether you feel safe in your community. The second overall thing that Democrats certainly need to do is get back to talking like normal human beings. Advocacy Speak came on for the right reasons. It was to reduce stigma in different areas, but you don't reduce stigma by changing words. You reduce stigma by changing hearts. When we've lost people to addiction, we haven't lost them to substance use disorder. Addiction, when you hear the word, it's mean. It kills people. It's tough to beat. And actually communicating with folks in a way to where our words have meaning and emotion forms a connection and lets people know that you're not talking down to them. You want to work with them and for them. And finally, I think we've got to be more authentic. We've got to share our why, what drives us every single day to get up out of bed and do very difficult jobs. And when I think people share their why, it creates the grace and the space for people to be able to disagree on this and that, but still believe that you're doing the right thing, or at least what you believe is right. All right, Josh.
Thanks, Governor. Given that you are making the rounds with Democratic leaders and trying to help get them elected in 2026, and we're seeing the president continue to send National Guard troops, whether in California, now D.C., in against the wishes of a Democratic governor, mayor of D.C., what are you telling Democrats? What's your advice to officials in those situations, and how do you believe they should react?
Well, I think each of these situations is very different. I believe certainly in California that you shouldn't call a guard into service without the agreement of a governor. And certain ways of calling the guard into service, you have to have agreement of the governor. DC is a little bit different just because of its legal structure. But I'm somebody that's had to call the guard out, both to respond to natural disasters as well as very large disturbances and protests. The Guard is not trained for everyday law enforcement activity. The Guard is trained for logistical support, responding to natural disasters, assisting and helping active military. To put our Guard, who remember are our neighbors, in places and spaces that they are not trained for, puts an American with a family in a potentially dangerous situation. And my concern is that these calls are done and the idea is that any guardsman can do any job. Our Guard's the best in the country. They can do just about any job, but remember, they only train a certain number of weeks per year, and they train for very specific missions. So my hope is that going forward, this will not be a tactic that the president continues to use, because the very people he is calling in to do different jobs may be put in harm's way. Okay, this is our end of our last Team Kentucky update in 110 for at least 4 years. We'll see if who's next has a weekly Team Kentucky update, but a lot of special moments, a lot of people that aren't with us anymore, but still a lot of work to do. And I know she's looking down on us, rooting for us. Thank you all very much.